lovers, it is G-Swizz here, and I'm here today with my February TBR. February is the month of love, and I think that it's also a great excuse to read a lot of romance novels, and so that is what I plan to do. This time last year, I read a lot of contemporary romances. I think I read 35 books in total. I'm not too sure if I read 35 romances in total, but from what I remember, I'm pretty sure almost every single one of those books were a romance novel. And I have a lot of contemporary romance on this TBR today. I do have the odd fantasy that I've added. However, my main focus for February is to tackle a bunch of the contemporary romances I have on my TBR because I still have a lot. I mean, even though this TBR video covers a lot of them, I do still have a lot of contemporary romances on my shelves that I've been accumulating. For some reason, they just keep on piling up. I mean, for good reason, because they are feel-good books. However, my main focus has not been my contemporary romance TBR, and so I have to make it my focus specifically in February, so that is what I'm gonna do. So I guess without further ado, I'm gonna get straight into this TBR. I'm gonna talk about a bunch of contemporary romances I have on here, and in the mix, I've also included a Valentine's related series that just so happens to be a fantasy. So let's go, let's dive in. So I'm gonna start off with my fantasy pick, and that, my friends, is the Heart Hassle series, or the Cupidity series, whichever one you wanna call it. So right here, I have a bind up of the original trilogy and the novella For the Love of Cupidity. I don't have the 4th or 5th book in this series. I'm not too sure if the novella is book 3.5 or if it is actually book 4, but I have the original trilogy and I do have this little extra. So I'm planning to get to these books, The Sides of Cupidity, The Bonds of Cupidity, The Crimes of Cupidity, and For the Love of Cupidity in the month of February. And I am so excited to finally get to this series because I've wanted to read the series for years now, ever since I found out that Raven Kennedy wrote another series on top of the Plated Prisoner series. I did somewhat enjoy the first book of the Plated Prisoner series, and I do want to continue on with it, but I'm holding off until we are actually close to the finale. And I was just about to pick the series up again, but when I found out that Raven was adding a 6th book to the series, I decided, no, that's it. Maybe 2024 is my year with the Plated Prisoner, but I'm gonna hold off until I know that the conclusion is satisfactory. But I do want to read the series because I'm hearing great things about the Heart Hassle series. And also, these books are relatively quick from what I know. Yes, this bind up looks huge, but this right here is a trilogy and a novella, so I hope I can get through this chunker this month, and I'll let you guys know how I go with it if I do. And the next book I put on my February TBR is The Accidental Pinup by Danielle Jackson. I have wanted to read this book ever since I saw its cover for the very first time, and then when I found out the recommended retail price for Australia was like $30 or $27.99, I put it off for a while, and then on my Amazon wish list, I saw it drop to $12, and I purchased it immediately, and it's been a while, so I want to finally read it in February. And yes, I'm not gonna lie, this is a random pick that I've put on my February TBR, but I do kind of want to recommend it. I want to see how I go with it. I don't know, I'm just really intrigued by its cover. I really enjoy this art style. It's giving me some lo-fi vibes in a way. I think it's because of the colors, honestly. I honestly barely know anything about this book in particular, except the vibes that it's giving off, and that's pinup vibes. I hope this book surprises me in the best way possible, because yeah, I'm going into this not really knowing much about it besides what I'm seeing here. And another book that I would like to finally read in February is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I was planning to read this last year, but I did not, and I just figured, you know what, this time of the year is the perfect time to prioritize it. This was one of my Afterlight special editions I got in one of my bi-monthly boxes that I received back in 2023, and I've been hearing great things about Forget Me Not. I also really love this edition. I am kind of obsessed with it, but I have not been prioritizing this one clearly, so I want to finally get to it in the month of February. It has just been standing there looking pretty on my shelves, but I'm gonna need it to stop doing that. I actually need to read it. I hope I love it just as much as everyone else has been loving it. I only recently found out that this is actually a Raylo fanfiction, and that alone has either been attracting romance readers to it or turning romance readers off. I'm kind of neutral when it comes to Raylo books because I haven't seen the recent Star Wars trilogy, and if I were to be honest, I honestly could not tell the similarities between The Love Hypothesis and The Hurricane Wars, which apparently are both Reylo fanfictions. I don't actually fully understand what makes something specifically Reylo. Honestly, The Hurricane Wars gave me Shadow and Bone vibes, but if the Darkling was not toxic. And then with Ali Hazelwood's book, I honestly don't get it. So I don't know if I'm gonna get those vibes while reading Forget Me Not. Maybe I might get the Love Hypothesis vibes, but if I'm gonna be real, I honestly cannot tell what actually makes a Reylo book. So if anything, it doesn't really turn me off from a romance novel, and it doesn't actually make me excited for a romance novel, and that's probably because I have not yet watched the recent Star Wars trilogy, so I have no say there. But that's kind of all I know about this book. I only know that this book is about either wedding planning / being a florist, but my main reason for wanting to read it is because I received it in an Afterlife box, so I gotta prioritize it because it's now on my TBR. So I'm hoping to get to this one in February. And the next book I would like to read in the month of February is The Long Game by Elena Armas. This is an Elena Armas release that I have not yet prioritized. I mean, I loved The Spanish Love Deception, but I loved The American Roommate Experiment even more, and so I thought that maybe I would have prioritized The Long Game, but I did not. And this one right here is a sports romance. I honestly cannot wait to get to this one. I believe that we are following someone who's from a small town and someone who's from the city, and it's a grumpy sunshine dynamic. And what I see on this cover, I see that we are following an athlete and we are following a city girl. Honestly, I think it's the high heels and the blazer that are doing that for me. I did hear about the synopsis ages ago. I have not checked it out recently. I kind of want to go into this book absolutely surprised and wowed, and I'm hoping that I love this one just as much or maybe even more than The American Roommate Experiment, because as much as I enjoyed The Spanish Love Deception, it was not the perfect book in my opinion. I think that it was a little bit too long. It got really good like towards the end. Oh my goodness, I love The Spanish Love Deception for that reason, but it took a while to get there, and I'm hoping that The Long Game does not take super long. I mean, I am expecting this game to be long based on the title. However, thankfully, this book does not look as thick as The Spanish Love Deception. It's actually under 400 pages, so I'm content with that. And it looks like I unintentionally put another sports romance on this TBR, and I mean, I'm not mad about that because eventually I do want to do a sports romance recommendations video. I'm getting into sports romance. It's not necessarily a genre / subgenre that I will gravitate towards. However, when I do read it, I really enjoy it. And right here I have the cheat sheet by Sarah Adams. I've heard great things about this one. I've had a work colleague scream to me about this one for the last, like, I don't know, 18 months, and I still have not yet read it. I have friends who absolutely adore Sarah Adams, and I still have not yet read Sarah Adams' books, even though I currently own like 3 books by her on my shelves, and I want to read all the books by Sarah Adams. So yes, eventually I do want to read all of Sarah Adams' releases, but I want to start off with the cheat sheet because I'm hearing absolutely great things about this one, and I'm hearing that this is a great place to start as well. It's also a standalone, so not too much of a commitment, so I'm hoping to get to this one in the month of February, where I'm meant to be feeling all the love vibes. I'm also hearing that this is a great friends to lovers romance. I hear from friends who don't love the friends to lovers tropes that this is probably one of the best books that the friends to lovers trope has been done, and that's promising because I actually do love the friends to lovers trope, but I personally love the friends to lovers trope when both POVs are explored. So I'm hoping that this is a dual POV story or a third person narrative. And the next 2 books I put on my February TBR just so happen to be by the same author. I don't know if this is a companion series or not. They just have very similar covers. First of all, I'd like to read Funny You Should Ask, and secondly, I'd like to read Once More with Feeling. I have wanted to read Alyssa Sussman for quite some time now. I think ever since I saw this cover, I was immediately drawn to this book, but I've been hearing like okay things about this book. Sometimes I hear that this book is mediocre, and then sometimes I hear that this book is absolutely incredible. So I don't know where I'm gonna stand with Funny You Should Ask, but when I saw the cover for Once More with Feeling, I just knew that I needed to have both of these on my shelf. I have both of these now, but I need to read them. I know nothing about them, and I'm kind of hoping that I'm gonna be pleasantly surprised by them, kind of similarly to some of the other books on this list. I promise, there are some books on this list that I do know things about that I am very much looking forward to. I actually have 3 series after this that I'm gonna talk about that I'm very much looking forward to based on the synopses and the fact that they are written by favorite authors. But with these ones, I don't know what to expect. So I'm hoping that these are just gonna be a pleasant surprise for Valentine's Day. And the next stack of books I decided to put on my February TBR just so happened to be the Romancing the Clarkson series by Tessa Bailey. I also plan on reading Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey this month, but I actually want to finally get to the series because I actually purchased this series during Boxing Day 2022, and I had fully intended on reading it in 2023, and I never got to the series, and I actually want to read the series for a really good time because I love the Hot and Hammered romance series by Tessa Bailey, and I do, for the most part, love Tessa Bailey's companion series. So I've been wanting to read Romancing the Clarksons for a while, and I'm hoping that I can finally get to these in the month of February, especially when I am taking the time to prioritize contemporary romances. And this romance series has just been sitting on my shelf collecting dust for over a year now. It's about time I get to these books. I know that this series follows a bunch of siblings, and I am honestly so content with the fact that this is not a duet, because as much as I do appreciate Tessa Bailey's duets, I have been enjoying her trilogies a lot more, and this just so happens to be a 4-book series, so I'm hoping that I love this series even more than some of the series that I've already read by Tessa Bailey. I'm fully expecting a great time out of the series. Maybe there might just be a book that I don't like from the series. That happens with Tessa Bailey's series and books sometimes, but we'll see how I go. I'm really hoping that I enjoyed the series for the most part, kind of similarly to the Broken Beautiful series and the It Happened One Summer series. I'm just hoping I love the series just as much as those ones, and I hope that the series remains consistent for me. The second last book series that I have to mention on my February TBR is one that I really want to get started on in the month of February, and that just so happens to be the Wilmot Sisters series by Chloe Leese. I want to finally read something else by Chloe Leese besides the Bergman Brothers series. However, I do want to give the Bergman Brothers series an honorable mention, just in case I decide to start my reread of the Bergman Brothers series in February. But I do want to get to these books first. I just want to read something new by Chloe Leese, and I know barely anything about the Wilmot Sisters so far, but I've been hearing absolutely magnificent things about every single thing that Chloe Leese writes, and you know what? That's not hard to believe, considering that the Bergman Brothers series is absolutely incredible in my personal opinion. I reckon I'm gonna love this series just as much, or hopefully maybe even more than the Bergman Brothers series. I'm honestly not sure. I think that having a 7-book series is kind of really hard to beat. To me personally, I love longer series, so the Bergman Brothers series I think will still hold that special place in my heart. I think I will love that series even more, but I'm hoping that I will still really enjoy the series. I don't know how long this series in particular is going to go for. I don't know if the Wilmot Sisters is going to remain a duet or if there's going to be more books in the series, but what I do know is that it's a Chloe Leese series, so I know that it's going to be good. I have a lot of faith in this author, and I reckon that she is absolutely going to show up with this book series. And last but certainly not least, I want this Valentine's month to be dedicated to the Well Met series by Jen DeLuca. I actually hauled this book series back in January of last year, and I wanted to read these books in February, but I just did not have the chance to. But I do have to say that this year, Valentine's period, these books are going to be my main priority. I do want to prioritize these books so bad, especially because I caved and I purchased the Afterlight exclusive editions of this book series. I not only have the standard editions that I hauled in January of last year, I recently purchased the Afterlight exclusive editions. They were irresistible. They're so pretty, and I love how one side we have their standard outfits, and then the next side on the other editions we have them in their Renaissance Fair outfits. I absolutely love and adore that finishing touch to those beautiful special editions. They're so pretty. I'm so happy I can call myself a proud owner of them, even though as I'm filming this video right now I have not yet received them. But oh my goodness, the fact that I purchased a beautiful special edition set of the book series, and I have these standard edition covers that I can't bring myself to get rid of, regardless of whether or not I have a special edition set of them, but I have not yet read this series. It's ridiculous to me. I also have a work colleague who was trying to recommend this book series to me, but also forgot the name of this book series. I had no idea what the Well Met series was about until she described it, and then later on I put 2 and 2 together when I heard someone else synopsize the series. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's what this book series is about? That's amazing. And even Abby from Abby Lisi the Book Lover has recommended this book series to me a few times already, and I really do need to read this book series. Recently, Abby has also recommended me another favorite. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I will love this recommendation from Abby as well. So we'll see how I go with this book series. I think it's quite ridiculous that I prioritize purchasing the special edition, but I did not prioritize reading this book series before purchasing the special edition set for the series. And I'm just hoping that February of this year is the time that I will finally get to these books and I will finally love them just as much as everyone else loves them. I'm hearing great things about this book series. I really hope that it becomes one of my favorite romance book series of all time. I'm not gonna lie, I do have quite high expectations for this book series based on the premise alone, but I know nothing about these characters, so I don't know whether or not I will be attached to them. This right here is my main priority for February. This and the Heart Hassle series, because the Heart Hassle series, we're following Q Cupid. So February is definitely the most fitting month for that book series, but the Well Met series is a personal priority of mine because of many reasons. Many reasons. So I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to stay to the end of the video, leave me the pink heart emoji with the sparkles. And if you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already joined the amazing community of book lovers. And also, I have social media. I'm at gswizzelbooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also GOODREADS. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. And finally, I'm at TikTok. I'm at gswizzle on TikTok if you want to follow me there for some bookish content. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
Started out with half and I flipped it into double. Started out with half and I flipped it into double.